Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've all been having a good week or a good weekend. Depending on whenever you're watching this, I hope the last few days have been great. So I almost didn't do this because there's like literally so many, but I thought that it'd be really cool to take you through some of my favorite films ever. These are movies that I believe are the highest of high quality. The storylines, the characters, the direction, just everything about them is honestly quite perfect in my opinion. They stand the test of time for me, and they're basically the movies that they just never leave me. Like, I'll always reference them at some point, or they just really stand out to me. So it was hard to do this because there was honestly so many. Like, I think my list was nearing 30. Certain standout films like Gone with the Wind is not currently here. So not all, like, this isn't the only favorite movies that I have. These movies are not by any means, like, I haven't ranked them in this video. The pile is all over the place. If a particular movie is more of an extra favorite though, I definitely will be pointing that out. Alright, so grab some popcorn and let's get into it. Okay, so the first one is Dog Day Afternoon with Al Pacino. I remember the first time that I watched this, it just gets better and better with each viewing. If you're a fan of Joker, then you should definitely check out Dog Day Afternoon and King of Comedy, because these are the 70s films that really inspired Todd Phillips. So watching Joker was really fun for me because I love Dog Day Afternoon and I love the King of Comedy. I think it is definitely an art form, being able to make a very limited set and dialogue heavy movie, and this movie pulls it off beautifully. Al Pacino is insanely great in it. Like, his acting is so intense, and just as it progresses, like, you really feel it. Okay, my next is Jesus Christ Superstar. So I'm technically not that much of a musical fan. I'm not really someone that you would like, oh, let's watch, you know, Mary Poppins and whatnot. I don't hate them, they're just not really usually my favorites. But Jesus Christ Superstar, I love watching this. The songs are amazing. So this is my favorite musical. I haven't seen the modern one and I don't want to. Okay, so this is an extra favorite. I grew up watching it on VHS and I only got it on DVD late last year. And when I found out that they had it on DVD, I was like, I have to get it. I need this film. Marlon Brando in The Men. This was his first movie, and in my opinion, it's like, dare I say, his best. I just noticed that this DVD is actually broken. Personally never been a huge Marlon Brando fan, but this movie grabbed my attention. It's got a beautiful storyline. The acting's really well done, but I think it really is the storyline that is so unique and well carried out. It's got a lot of feeling in it. In an odd way, like, I don't know if it's so good that I don't know, how long does it go for? It goes for 87 minutes, but it feels like a really short film. But I think that's because you become so captivated by it. You watch it and then you're like, oh my gosh, like, it's over. So you definitely, like, I enjoy every single minute of this film. I could watch it over and over again. It gets very intense. I'm very glad that they released it on DVD, because we don't really watch VHS anymore. We have a VHS player, but it's a bit faulty. So I hadn't seen it in quite a while, and I recommend all of you to try and get your hands on a copy and watch it. Okay, the next movie is Long Day's Journey into Night. It's got Katharine Hepburn, Sir Ralph Richardson, Jason Robards, and Dean Stockwell. I only watched this, I think, in December last year for the first time. It's amazing. It starts off a bit slow. It is extremely dialogue heavy. I mean, anything with Katharine Hepburn is extremely dialogue heavy, and I mean, when I see her, you know, as a star in a film, I know that that's what I'm getting myself in for. It's an intense and explosive movie. It takes place all in one day, and it just covers the deep troubles that this family has. The mother, for example, she is a drug addict. One of the sons has a life-threatening illness. The other son is a wannabe writer, but he hasn't succeeded yet. And the father is an alcoholic who his career as an actor has expired. So they're all dealing with their individual things, and this movie just, like I said, it's explosive because as you're watching it, they all get into arguments with each other and then things slowly get revealed. If you're not into dialogue heavy, I'm not sure you're gonna survive this film, because it actually goes for like just over 3 hours. So we watched it in one hit, and I got so tired because we watched it at like 2 a.m. But it was literally that good that I had to stick it out because I had to know what was going to happen. I don't feel like it's one of those movies that you can take a break and come back to, because you need to remember everything fresh in your head. Long Day's Journey into Night. Okay, the next movie is All Through the Night with Humphrey Bogart. Absolutely love this film, one of his best movies. It is very comedic. Peter Lorre is in it as well, and he's one of my favorites. So this is definitely a standout film for me. I might even classify it as an extra favorite, because it's the one that I always keep going back to when I think of Humphrey Bogart. It's just, yeah, it's always stood out to me as one of his better films, so. Okay, the next film, like I said, I love Peter Lorre, and I got M. This is a really artistic movie, and Peter Lorre is a wonderful actor. It is about a child murderer, so it's of a more dark nature, and I think anybody who watches it understands why it becomes a standout film. It's definitely one of a kind. Fritz Lang did an amazing job. I was so psyched when I got this on DVD, actually, because it was really expensive. This is a restored version. Alright, the next one I actually watched for the first time last night. My sister got it for me for Christmas, and that is The Heiress with Olivia de Havilland, Montgomery Clift, and Ralph Richardson. This was very, very good, and I think every woman should watch it. It is about a girl who is an heiress, and Montgomery Clift convinces her to marry him, but he's really just after her father's money, but she's young and naive, and she thinks that she needs love in order to escape her current situation that she's not quite happy with. And then he disappears when he finds out he's not going to get her father's inheritance if he marries her. And 7 years later, she sees him again, but this time when she sees him, she's much more mature, and she gets revenge on him. Terrific movie. So girls, if you've ever been ghosted on or used by a man, you will thoroughly enjoy this. And Olivia de Havilland is wonderful in it. Okay, so this is another extra favorite. It is The Two Mrs. Carrolls with Humphrey Bogart, Barbara Stanwyck, and Alexis Smith. Amazing film. I like this more than I like All Through the Night. This, I got this as a gift on DVD. I think it's definitely a copy from America because you can't get it here. But an amazing thriller, so beautifully put together. It's intense. The storyline is great. Basically, Barbara Stanwyck marries Humphrey Bogart after his last wife dies, and then she starts to become sick, and it's just this huge story about what is Humphrey Bogart really up to. So if you're into thrillers, I recommend trying to get your hands on a copy or trying to find it online. Barbara Stanwyck is terrific, Humphrey Bogart is terrific, so this is definitely an extra favorite. Okay, the next film, a bit of a Humphrey Bogart fest, but this is Casablanca. Do I even need to explain why Casablanca is one of the best films of all time and rightfully deserves to be referred to as that? If you haven't seen it, I'm not sure what you're doing with your life, because you need to see this movie. It is so beautifully crafted, and great dialogue, great scenery. Peter Lorre's in it as well, which is a bonus, and yeah, it just never gets old. Like, you could watch it over and over again and you feel to a certain extent like you're watching it for the first time. Okay, the next film is Viva Las Vegas. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Elvis movies, but I always did love this one, and I hold it in the opinion that it was Elvis's best film alongside Jailhouse Rock. I always wanted to be Anne Margaret growing up, and she is still an inspiration because she is just so gorgeous and has the right personality. So yeah, I definitely love this. It has really great songs, and I love the pool song that he sings to her, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Definitely one of his better movies, because his movie career honestly was a little bit. Next one is Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Elizabeth Taylor, Paul Newman, Burl Ives, Jack Carson, and Judith Anderson. I very randomly just get this urge where I'm like, I have to watch Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I love watching movies where Elizabeth Taylor is very intense and loud and, you know, sort of just like frustrated and angry. She does those roles incredibly well. Paul Newman is great, so you really can't go wrong with this movie. I'm like a fan of all these. Like, I'm a fan of Streetcar Named Desire as well, which originally was in this list, but then I took it out because I'm like, this covers both of those titles. So yeah, if you haven't seen this, I highly recommend it. It's a great story about just a family that is after inheritance and has all these hidden secrets and troubles, and yeah, you watch it and then like you learn more and more, and it's one of those films that like builds up, and It gets very intense, and who would not have seen Cat on the Tin Roof? Okay, the next film is an extra favorite, and that is Scarface. I love this copy of Scarface. I was so excited. My sister gifted me this when I turned 18. Basically, I wasn't allowed to watch it until I turned 18, but I always knew, like, I need to see this film. Yeah, I love this movie. I got the chance to watch it on the big screen, and it was fantastic. I feel like this never gets old either. You watch it again, you watch it again, and you enjoy it just the same every single time. It's obviously quite a long film, so it's not one that I watch that regularly, but when I do, it is always like a thrill, and Al Pacino's so great in it. Funnily enough, like, I do love gangster films, but I don't like Godfather, and I think in my head growing up I was always like, ooh, Godfather, Scarface won for me. I'm not a fan of Godfather, so to me, like, that's how perfect Scarface is, and I'm not a fan of and then when I'm editing this, I'm gonna remember what it's called and be really frustrated at myself for forgetting it. Okay, the next movie is Joker. I got the Steelbook version. Love the Steelbook version. Love Joker. I mean, honestly, this is like an extra favorite. This is up there in like my top 5 films. It's such an important movie. It's one of those films where every time you watch it, you learn something new about it, which is very rare. Terrific, multi-dimensional character, intricate storytelling. I don't really know what more I can ask for. I think this is a movie that a lot of movies wish they could be, in terms of holding meaning and being complex and so on and so on. Sometimes I feel like there's only so many ways to describe a movie that's great, but... So the next film is 12 Angry Men. I always grew up and I heard about this film that took place in one room, and I was like, how could anybody sit through that? Well, now I know. Again, just like Dog Day Afternoon, you have to be highly skilled to put together a film in one. I mean, this is even more limited than Dog Day Afternoon. Like, this is literally one room, and you don't get bored of it. Like, I love 12 Angry Men so much. I admittedly have not seen it in a little bit, so I definitely have to watch it again. But Henry Fonda is a very perfect actor, and you know, some other guys in this are just terrific. So, you know, I really appreciate old movies because of how hard they did work on the scripts. Like, they basically did rely on scripts to make the film great, because they weren't focused on shock factor and chucking in like sex scenes and violence and stuff like that. So that is why, I mean, you know, you've probably noticed that most of my movies are old movies, and that's because I have a more higher respect for them in the way that they were put together and what the focus was on. This kind of represents all of that, because there's no shock value in this or anything like that. It's just pure script, pure storytelling, and that's what makes it so damn great. So the next one is a double. So Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden, both equally perfect, although I think I prefer East of Eden to Rebel. I will forever be sad that James Dean, you know, didn't have the chance to go on and make more films, because the ones that he did make in his short time were just so well done and terrific storylines. I mean, what more? It's like, I think because I've seen these so many times, I'm like, what more can I say? But these two movies both will always stay with me. East of Eden, I think, has more of a, dare I say, mature storyline going for it, so I relate more to it as an adult than Rebel Without a Cause. Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't put Giant in this. I love Giant as well, so just pretend it says Giant here. Okay, my next two films are both extra favorites, so they're higher up than some of the others that I've said. Bonnie and Clyde is one of the most amazingly well done films around. Just the way the direction, the editing, the scripts, like, oh my gosh. Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway are so perfect in it. Like, honestly, name a better duo. This is a film I was excited to watch. I think I watched this as well for the first time when I was 18. And yeah, it just stayed with me forever, and it's going to stay with me forever. And I, you know, thought Faye Dunaway was just so brilliant in it. She just takes charge, and she's so headstrong and sassy, and yeah, they fit so perfectly together. I couldn't imagine a remake being done, honestly. It's one of those films where you watch it and it feels, there's just something very natural about it, and the way that it's done, every single time that I watch it, this is how, okay, so like, I think I'm repeating this a little bit, but one of the ways that I do know that a film is a favorite of mine is if it never gets old, because I feel like there are some movies you watch and you're like, I really enjoyed that, but you don't necessarily want to watch them again and again. I've seen Bonnie and Clyde too many times. That's how I know that it's definitely up there for me, because every time I watch it I get excited. Every time I watch it, you know, I go through the motions of what's happening on the screen. I never become desensitized to it. My last film. So funnily enough, I didn't intend for this, like I said, to be, you know, film I least like to film I most like, but this is such an important movie, and it is one that holds a lot of meaning for me. And again, you know, I could watch it 1,000 times and go through the motions and whatnot. And that's And Justice for All with Al Pacino. I don't know why. Getting passionate over here. I don't know why, but this movie is so underrated. Like, everybody always talks about Scarface, and you know, they'll talk about Dog Day Afternoon. This is such a treasure. You can't even buy it in the store. They don't, I think, release proper copies of it. This is about corruption in the legal system, and everybody needs to watch it. Anybody who blindly trusts the legal system and thinks that judges are like, you know, almighty gods and don't want to, you know, like, I don't want to go like too political here, but basically all I'm saying is that this is a reflection of the flaws in our legal system, and that is why it is such a powerful film. If you don't watch any other film that I have listed, I really want you to watch this. Look at it, remember its name. Alright guys, we actually got through every single film. I didn't have to take any of them out. That was really cool and fun, and I hope I've encouraged you to watch some old movies, because there's some real gems. Like, there's too many gems. I have a stack of old movies that I have to get through that I've purchased, and I sometimes feel like there is not enough time in the day. If you are someone who watches modern movies all the time, you might find that it's a little hard to like get into old films. Like I said, modern films, they're very, very quick moving. It's this scene, this scene, this scene, cut to her, cut to him, blah, blah, blah. Old movies are very, like, focused, and the scenes are very contained, if that sort of makes sense. It makes sense in my head. Very dialogue heavy, very character development heavy. You're not going to sit down, watch an old movie and have, like, shock crap put in your face. Not everything's going to be put right in front of you. You're gonna have to listen, and you're gonna have to like put things together. That is why like Hitchcock movies, the earlier ones, are so incredible, and I have such respect for them. I didn't even include, alright, so off the top of my head, I want to give a special mention to obviously Psycho and Rope. Rope is my favorite Hitchcock film, and Strangers on a Train. Those are some like special mentions from the Hitchcock family. But yeah, other than that, you know, there are people that are probably going to get like offended that I've put modern films down, but that is just genuinely how I feel. I every so often do enjoy a modern film, but I can't think of any that really stick out in my head. Joker, I have respect for it because it was really done. It was put together in more of an old style way. People are going to be confused because there is violence in Joker, but the funny thing is that if you compare Joker to other action films, the violence is really minimal and it's not actually the focus of the film. But that's like a whole video on its own that I could make, talking about Joker. But yeah, that is it for today. If you have 3 movies, they do not have to be in order of favorite to least favorite, but any 3 films that stick out to you, list them below. Tell me what they are, because I'm always on the hunt for new movies. If you made it all the way through this as well, congratulations. I probably was quite repetitive in why I like certain films. It is incredibly hard. Like, you sit there and you pick up a film and you're like, it's so great. It's made so great, because that's just how you feel in your heart, you know? Alright, I will see you guys next time. Bye!